Are eggs really bad for your heart, or have we been misled this entire time? Today, we're talking about eggs and heart health and figuring out the truth behind it. So if you want to take care of your heart health without minimizing or totally eliminating the foods that you love, then you have to understand how eggs actually impact your cholesterol. Hi, my name is Dr. Stephanie Saucier. I'm a cardiologist and a lipid specialist, and I treat thousands of patients with high cholesterol who want to eat eggs. So let's dive in to the facts. So the most important thing in this video is helping people understand that your dietary cholesterol, or the cholesterol that you absorb from the foods that you eat, in some people is incredibly important and needs to be monitored very closely. And in other patients or other people, doesn't make as much of a difference to their cholesterol levels. You're going to see people on social media saying that dietary cholesterol doesn't matter and that anyone and everyone can eat every type of cholesterol and it doesn't affect your heart. But that's not the truth. And here's what you need to know. So let's start off with most patients, okay? So most people who metabolize their cholesterol normally and have normal functioning cells and processes in the liver, most people can eat eggs and not have any issues with their cholesterol going significantly higher. That's most people. And so there have been studies looking at egg consumption and cardiovascular health. And what has been kind of seen over the course of all of the studies is that it's okay to eat eggs. You know, obviously everything in moderation. We don't want you eating a dozen eggs a day. These days, you're not going to eat a dozen eggs a day from a price standpoint anyways. However, you know, everything in moderation, and a few eggs a day is not going to lead to increased risks of cardiovascular disease or significantly change your cholesterol. So that's most patients. Now, there are times where it does significantly impact you. Patients with rare genetic conditions such as familial chylomicron syndrome are very, very sensitive to the amount of cholesterol that their body takes in and the amount of fat that they are eating. And so their dietary fat intake is what ultimately allows us to treat them and keep them out of the hospital. So patients with familial chylomicron syndrome, we typically recommend a total daily fat intake of less than 20 grams a day. And in some extreme cases, even less than 10 grams a day. Those patients can't be eating eggs every day, or if they choose to eat eggs, they need to consider that in their daily fat content that they're taking in. And so again, for those patients, we would say use egg whites instead of whole eggs. But familial chylomicron patients cannot just intake whatever amount of dietary cholesterol that they want, because it will end up that they will have elevation in their triglycerides, their chylomicrons will be through the roof, and they will end up in the hospital with acute pancreatitis, which can be life-threatening. So I'm sorry, but the people on social media who are telling everyone that you can eat all of the cholesterol you want, you may be sending people to the hospital. I want to clarify something. If I'm a normal person, but I do have high cholesterol, even though my cholesterol levels are, controlled, or we're working on controlling them, can I change and lower my cholesterol numbers just with diet alone? The answer is it depends, right? So patients who are vegan tend to have significant reductions in their LDL cholesterols. And so those are people who do not eat anything from an animal, which would mean no eggs. However, it takes a lot of dietary changes. They don't make a ton of difference in your LDL cholesterol. So if you're, other than becoming vegan, if you're eating kind of a Mediterranean or a typical standard American diet, or even trying to cut back, that it doesn't affect your LDL as significantly as, like I said, a vegan diet. So we tend to need a little bit more assistance in those patients with medications and whatnot for lipid control. But overall, you can typically eat healthy amounts of cholesterol and continue to just live a healthy lifestyle. Kind of my number one recommendation. And if you need a significant reduction in your LDL, you might not get there with just diet alone. So if you're someone who does have significant high cholesterol and you don't want to go vegan, then you've got a couple options. One, you can accept the risk that your high cholesterol can increase your risk and is increasing your risk for developing cardiovascular disease, strokes, heart attacks, things like that. Or you can work with your physician to find the right combination of cholesterol-lowering medications, such as a statin or other cholesterol-lowering medications, to get your labs levels a little bit closer to where we want them and our goal lipid levels. If you want to actually learn more about how we manage cholesterol with medications, I have a video that you can check out and I will link it right here. So there you have it. Eggs are not the worst thing in the world, and you can enjoy that egg or two for the most part. If you are one of those special patients who has genetic conditions that preclude you from eating too many eggs, please work with your doctor about how you can potentially incorporate egg-like foods into your diet. If you're someone looking to get more access to heart health information, please check out my free heart health guide and subscribe to the channel for more.